Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the cash cows for round 4 of the AFLW fantasy season. This is going to be primarily, I would say, focused on the double game weeks, just because 2 games, most of them have actually an alright role, so they should be able to get game time and they should be able to really make some cash. And we're talking, even Hartle is projected, if I just go to stats by Jaden, I'm pretty sure she's going to be projected across across the double. If she scores, I reckon Hartle could very easily go up 150 to 200k in this just double week, get to like 660k, and then that'll be her pretty much cashed out at that point, but we may have to hold on to her a little bit. But that's sort of the cash in that we're talking about. Ramos could be very easily around that market as well, and so that's why I would just say that these are really important to get the double game week cash cows here, because they're going to make bank very, very quickly, and they're going to be ones that are really, really worthwhile to have. But anyway, let's just jump into this video here. As you see, I do have to do it on this screen just because the double game week players toggle is only available on this screen, so it still will be very, very useful. But Divinato here is a really a decent one to look at. She did, I think, score like 27 or 28 points in the last quarter. I'm just going to check that quickly. So that is a little bit of a worry that it came a lot late in the game, and she could easily score like a 20 or be on track to score a 20. If I just go to the Western Bulldogs versus West Coast game and go down to Donato. In the last quarter, she scored a 27 with 3 tackles, 3 kicks, and a goal and a mark. Before that, she had a 0.3, a 14 in the first, and a 7 in the second. And she is obviously very, very tackle based, so she might lose that in the game a little bit. So I'm a little bit worried about her compared to other role based players, because we've seen Schilling score 60s and then drop a 30. So I'm just worried if Donato has some points taken away from her by like Schilling and some others, as well as also just coming up against some really good opposition. I know that it's going to be down there a lot, but because she's tackle based rather than like a kick out based player, like a Schilling, I believe, she may struggle to really score. But as you see here with the, as I showed the Hartle in the introduction, Donato here, you'll see 14 break even. If she goes at her average, she goes up 102k. So I think just because of the double, even if she scores like say a 25 or even like a 30 and then scores another 30 again, she'll still go up, I would suspect, a good 40k in that one, and then another 40k. She's probably still, worst case scenario, going to go up 80k this game week, and best case scenario, she goes up 200k. So yeah, I just think that she could easily go up 200k, and that'll be just a massive cash cow for everyone that has her or is trading her in. And then you can almost just trade her straight directly out to probably another double game week player, or down to a rookie around that 300 to 380k again, bank 200k that you basically bank, like get her down to basically Donato next week, who will be like another 360k girl, and that'll be your moneymaker. Baker here playing more of a tagging role, which can really generate some cash very quickly. We've seen it with Lucy Single last year, who did it. I'm just worried that she's already had 3 games there, so it's quite harder for her to necessarily gain cash. If we look at Baker, she's got a 23 break even. Average only gets her up 33k. So I would suspect probably in the double game week that she probably goes up. If she plays both games, averages say 40, she's probably going to go up, I would say 120k, give or take, 130k, and that's still pretty good, but it's not as good as I think some other options potentially can do. So I'd just be a little bit more circumspect with her and try to get up to someone that we'll talk about a little bit later for about 40k more expensive. Gutneck, someone that I haven't really looked at and don't think I really will at all. I haven't really looked at her role either. And let's just go to DFS to check this roll out for Gutneck. If I just go to, I can actually just do it this way. Gutneck here, Gutneck, here we go. And 3% CBAs, 68% TOG. What was her last game? No CBAs. So she's done VFLW in 2022, she was going well, but doesn't really look like it's translating to anything. Maybe with the injury, she gets some time on ball, but I don't think she necessarily will. We'll find out later today when teams come out for their double, for the start of their double on the Wednesday night. You find that out at 5 p.m. So I think that I don't know who will be named on ball for Western Bulldogs, but that'll be an interesting look at in case someone does get named on ball. But I do think it will be just some of the other girls getting increased game time on ball. If we look at the CBAs here, I don't think it'll be necessarily... If we look at the CBAs here, 1 second, I think you'll find that Carruthers and Pritchard will have high time on ball, and then you'll have probably Barwick getting some time on ball. And if we look at Barwick here, where's Barwick? Barwick here could be an interesting one with her time on ball increasing maybe, but we'll have to see later today if that is the case. I don't know if I necessarily want to play her on field because she is... 317k, so she would definitely be, I think, a rookie option just for the bench because she isn't scoring the greatest. But I don't think I'll try and I'll necessarily go with Barwick here. If we just go to Barwick, even though she's got a 17 break even, and her getting a 33 sort of gets her up around about that probably 45k. And that one, and then the week after, the game after, probably another 45k. So I think she's on for maybe 100k, but I don't think she's on as much as some other girls will be, especially one that's named on ball that we've already sort of seen what I expect out of Barwick, or the role that I expect out of Barwick. I've seen that in someone that I really want over her, that we'll get to, that I was sort of implying with Baker a couple minutes ago. Jasmine Smith, I don't know about this necessarily too much here. Let me just go to break evens with Smith for a second here. Let me go down. Where is she? Jasmine Smith here. 20 break even. Should probably do that. 20 break even, and then average of 30. That gets her up 31k, and we expect that to probably stay roughly around the same. I don't expect too much from her, so I wouldn't be jumping there. Isabella Grant's not doing anything. Peters had one game, 26. Don't expect her to play that much. Dunn, Bennett, Borg, Wakefer. I don't expect much from any of these ones, particularly just looking at it quickly here. Don't really, there's no one here that I really like the look of, to be honest with you. And that's pretty much that. Butler's still a couple of weeks away from what I've heard. And yeah, that's pretty much that there. Then we go to the 400k region, which is probably the most handy region here. And you'll see Eliza James, someone that I don't think I jump on just because I don't think there's a role there, but she is one that probably will make a little bit. The two that I'm most interested are Hartle, who I brought in last week specifically for this. And then you've also got Ramos here. If you actually look at it, this is probably what I will be doing in the actual game week, is putting Hartle over O'Dowd, just because they're playing 2 games this week, and they haven't named their team for round 1 for the first game of the double. We could easily see tomorrow or tonight, when they name it, that Hartle is named even in the ruck. They may even give Hickey a rest against Western Bulldogs, given how horrific Western Bulldogs are, and how that West Coast are probably going to be the tougher game of the game week. So they might even give her a rest, and then just let Hartle ruck, which would be a really smart idea, wouldn't it? Really smart idea. And yeah, I just think that Hartle could easily score, even if she just plays both game weeks, she could easily score a 90. And then if she gets a favourable, anything favourable, she pumps out a 60 or a 65. And then maybe even just a 40 in the other game, then that's a 100-pointer, and that's pretty much what we're expecting out of she'll basically draw even with a Mimi Strom in that. And if she gains, if she goes and scores a 100 Hartle here, let's just look at it here. Even if she goes at an average of 45, she still gets 66, and then the week after would, because she's played 2 games, it starts to filter out a little bit. So she's probably going to make 100k if she goes, or 100, I would say probably 105, 110k if she goes 45. But if she takes another increase and goes up and really does well, looking at here, you can see even just a 50 gets her up another a 50 gets her up to 81k, and then that would really do well. But if she goes, say, 60, 65 in the first game, just because of a couple goals, couple extra possessions, etc., and really does generate some cash quickly with like a big 60 score, then that'll really help her break even, stay in the low sort of 20s, even if getting back into the teens. And then that'll help her really just generate more cash, because she could generate 120k from getting a 60 score, 115, 120, and then maybe even get another sort of 70, 80k from another 40 or 50 score, and then that gets her all the way up to like 640k, and then you can just ride that, and you can honestly probably trade her out straight away to something and upgrade there, because that is a huge 340k would be absolutely huge to jump onto someone else. And yeah, so there's that, especially with, I think, when does Fiedler scored a 53 as a ruck, and when do they have their double? Let me just check. When do St Kilda have their double? Round 5 they do not. Round 6 I think they might have their, no, round, is it 7 do they have their double? Round 6 is round 7 they have their double, so she's not going to be valuable at all, just looking at that. Anyway, so then we move on to probably the rookie of the week, I would say. I've somehow stretched it to 11 minutes before talking about her. I would say Ramos here. If you actually look at the stats per quarter, she was on about 40 at halftime in the game on the weekend against Brisbane, which is a much tougher outfit than she'll play this week with West Coast and Western Bulldogs. Am I right in saying that? Yes, West Coast and Western Bulldogs. So I think that she's one. If we look at her stats here quickly, Ramos, and the thing about this is if we look at the CBAs again for Collingwood, you'll see that if you actually look at their team list, AFLW lineups here, you'll see their team list here. I actually went through it. Benici, on-baller, Fowler is I think a key forward. So they got rid of a key forward. They brought in Charlotte Taylor, who is a defender, and they brought in also Aaliyah Morris, who is a key forward. So that is a direct replacement here, and then Charlotte Taylor comes into the back line, I believe. So that means that there's more midfield time opened up, and that midfield time, I suspect, and this is what we were talking about last night with the centre bounce boys, is that midfield time is going to go to Ramos and Campbell alongside. You've got Kane and Bree Davey. If you look at their stats here, you'll see Kane 82%, Benici 71% needs to be covered by someone, and you'll see that Barnett here was taking the secondary ruck. You have Bree Davey there, so you have 76, 70, 71. So you have this 71% that has to be split somewhere. I suspect it gets split here between these two girls. And that 71%, even if it just goes 30 and 40, they're both in the 70% midfield time. So you have 70, Brady Davies 76, and Can even 82, somewhere around that. For 2 games, I'm telling you right now, she's going to average more than she will if she gets much more midfield time. As you see, even with the increase in midfield time, she went from 0 to 28 to 29, irrespective of the performance of the opposition in Sydney. They got beaten in this one, and beaten in this one. So they 0-3, and they performed much worse in this game overall as a team, and she scored better. So yeah, I really like this. I think also her TOG will improve anyway, just because the midfield are down. So I think that her TOG will improve, her positioning will improve. So I think in general, it'll just be a much better. And that's why I'm pretty willing to field her, because I think that she could average 65 in these 2 games, and a 65 average for Ramos here. Just looking at that, 17 break even, a 65 will get her. I would suspect the 65 gets her. If we look at that, a 65 gets her probably up 130k. Or so, and then the next week after that, she'll also, the game in the secondary game against West Coast, I think she could average still 65 or something, get us another 65, and that'll get her probably up another 100k. So you could get theoretically about 230k out of Ramos in 1 week, plus also getting about 130 points. So yeah, I really do like this this Ramos players. I think she's probably and she could easily, and I'm just saying this out there, she could easily have a pop game where she goes 80 or 90, because she's shown that she can score 40 and a half very easily, as she did against against Brisbane Lions here. She scored, in the first quarter, she scored a 26, second quarter 18. So she was on 44 at halftime. Double that, you get 88. Say she scores an 88, she will go up 200 and something K. That's roughly halfway in between that, that is a 72 gap. So plus 30, minus 36 off that, 205K. If she goes 88, it's roughly 205, 206K. If she goes up 206K and then has a game the week after, on the actual weekend where she's probably has break even around about that 10 or 5 marker, she will go up another bunch of cash again. And that could be that you could, if she has a pop game in here, one of these 2 games has a pop game, she could go up anywhere between about 300 to 350K, and that'd just be massive. So this double price jump, if I have it correctly mathed out, Ramos could be a massive, because she's got the low-ish break even, but not too expensive, plus also has a roll change, should have a positive roll change. She could be one that really does generate some cash quickly. So that's why I'm really tempted to go for her. And that pretty much is it, I think, for the sort of players that I'm looking at. There's no one here that I'm really looking at and going, I need them. Is there anyone in the sort of 500K region from these teams that are really popping out to me? I don't think so. Bushby, I think did she get dropped, Bushby? Did Bushby get, whoopsie, that I didn't mean to get rid of that. Bushby, didn't she get, she did get dropped. So yeah, that is a weird one there. That she's, it hasn't actually gone up and said that she's available. Let me just double check if this is said that any of these, no, it doesn't seem like it said that yet, that any of them are sort of available. I guess it's maybe just going to put the question mark for their second game, for the actual weekend game and not midweek. I don't like Schilling anymore. She's lost all her relevance because Schilling is now, if we look here at her, she is now 24 break even. So she's lost some relevance there. She'll probably still go up cash and score 100 across the 2 games, but I don't think she'll have much relevance. And that's pretty much it for this Cash Cows update video. A lot more sort of streamlined about the likes of Ramos and Hartle, and then potentially Baker Donato, I should say, and no one else there really that I'm looking at and saying that they will definitely score. And then we maybe, if you cannot get Ramos and you still need a midfielder maybe just for your bench, Barwick should be able to gain a good 100K across the 2 games this week if she plays both games. But anyway, especially this should be impactful because we lost Bonucci and Blackburn, so both of the girls being out should open spots for real rookies just to catapult themselves. So it's just about selecting a good rookie and hoping for the best, because if Ramos can go anywhere close to matching like a Rowbottom or a Marinoff or someone like that, or a Riddell over their 1 game compared to her 2, you've massively sort of made up ground, I would say, almost in a way. But anyway, if you did enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and I'll see you guys in the Trade Targets video. Bye, guys.